My name is Matteo. I've been working for Mercy Corps, for about 3 years now. We're coming into the third year in November. And yeah, I just wanted to thank you all for making some time today to learn more about our work in Indonesia and how natural disaster and COVID-19 are affecting communities who live in Indonesia. I also want to thank those people who made a donation to our Indonesia appeal in recent weeks. And if you haven't done so already, my colleague Gemma will share a link shortly in the chat box. Feel free to make a donation if you can. Hello, Gemma.
Hi, everyone.
Gemma will support us monitoring the chat with us today in case you have any queries, and towards the end she will take any question for Piva. I really encourage to ask questions because there's your chance to learn more about our work and where our donations are spent, and how they are spent in our work and Indonesia in particular. But let's move on to the live talk. So to help us understand our work in Indonesia, we now welcome Piva Bell, who can introduce herself and her work in Indonesia. Hi, Piva.
Hi, Matteo. Hello, everyone. Yeah, thank you for the chance to participate in this live talk. I'm Piva. I'm with Mercy Corps Indonesia, part of the national team. I'm with Mercy Corps Indonesia in 2005 as an intern during Aceh's tsunami response. And then I joined Mercy Corps again in 2008 until now. And currently I'm having two hats. During normal time, I'm working as program performance quality manager. And when the disaster strikes and Mercy Corps Indonesia decided to respond, I will change my hat and taking the lead for Indonesia response team, which is the first responder that will be deployed first to respond to disasters in Indonesia. Thank you.
It sounds like a very busy set of roles, but thank you for that introduction. And now to start talking about our work in Indonesia and the situation in Indonesia, can you give us a quick overview of how natural disaster and climate change have affected the country over the past few years?
Okay, thank you, Matteo. Yeah, so maybe some of you already know that Indonesia located in the most active Pacific Ring of Fire. So we have around 127 active volcanoes and more than 5 million people living in active danger zone. Because of this, we experience volcano eruptions, earthquakes, which is usually it will trigger tsunamis, as well as soil liquefaction. And not only these disasters, we also experience disaster, which is become even worse because of climate change impact, such as flood, flash flood, landslide, drought, forest fire. Our disaster management board inform us that every year there are more than 1,000 disasters happening around Indonesia in a different scale of impact, from the low to high level impact. So you can see in this map, there are the map of where Mercy Corps has been work in an area that experienced disasters, earthquake, flood, including landslide, tsunamis, volcano. Since 2004, we are responding to different type of disasters that affected the life of thousands of people. You can see that the bigger the round, the circle, the higher impact, means like 100,000 people affected by these disasters. And it's keep continue until today, and our team's been responding to many disasters. Me, myself, I've been actively participate as the team leader for emergency response since 2012, been leading numbers of emergency response for various disasters. Yeah, so some of it, it's also not shown in here when it's like in the medium scale impact. And currently we in Indonesia, we also having COVID-19 pandemic affecting people. And this has caused people that already vulnerable because of disasters, they become even more vulnerable. Yeah.
Thank you. And you mentioned just a minute ago climate change. We talk a lot about climate change and the impact on vulnerable communities around the world who are already experiencing unimaginable crisis. How does climate change specifically affect Indonesia? Can you give us a couple of examples, maybe?
Okay, so one of the effect that we can, I mean, like almost people in Indonesia knows, it's the timing first, yeah. The timing of the start of rainy season and dry seasons, it's changing every year. So the timing that we have in this year, when the rainy season or the dry season start, is changing with last year. That's one. And then when it's changing, it's also affected to the, it's become difficult for us to predict when the rainy, when the hard rain or heavy rain will happen in which area, even though we already get the notification, but it's not always happening like that, which just means that it's becoming even difficult for us to predict which area that will affect, will get or experience disasters. And the flood, it's now, currently we can see that it's happening in the area that before they never experienced this kind of flood. And for the area that have the history of flood, means like almost regularly each year they will experience flood. Currently, every time the flood's coming, the flood or flash flood, the scale of impact is become bigger and become more damaging than before. Yeah. So with this, the pattern of the seasons change, means like the changing, it's not only when it started, but sometimes it's also the seasons changing in the west part, but not yet changing in the central Indonesia, not yet in the east, and it's so unpredictable. So this has caused confusion, and it has affected to numbers of people, especially livelihood, the agricultures. And when the agriculture is affected, it will also affect other type of businesses. Yeah.
And I think a couple of weeks ago, Piva and I were talking about climate change specifically, and you mentioned that dry seasons and fires are also one factor that climate change is sort of like generating and causing in Indonesia, something that you don't necessarily associate to Indonesia when you think about the most famous and recent disasters we've witnessed. So can you talk maybe to us about dry seasons and fires?
Okay, so the climate change, yeah, I told you earlier about the season change. For some area in Indonesia, before we already experienced the hotspot, means the locations become very dry and very hot, the temperature is very high. So when there is like the dry leaves or grass rubbing each other, it can cause fire. And recently, so I'm always joining like the coordinations meetings, yeah, with the UN OCHA, the government, the Disaster Management Board, and other NGOs. So we always get reports on more and more hotspots in every year, yeah. So usually it's just in some area in Borneo or in Kalimantan Island or in Sumatra Island, But now, yes, it's still in that area, but the hotspot is more. We can see in the map, there are more hotspots, and it's also touched the east part of Indonesia. So when there are hotspots means there's like in the area around the hotspots, there is like the very severe drought where there are like many people's wells are getting dried and there's not enough water to watering their garden or their rice paddy field. Yeah, so many people experience failures in their farmings, and many people lack of clean water for drinking and other hygiene activities. And when the hotspots, finally it's become fire, in some area it will trigger forest fire, and forest fire can be bigger. Yeah, I mean, like it's affected more and more area. It's become like a huge fire, forest fire, that if you follow in the news, it's also, the smoke is also affecting Malaysia, the neighboring country, and also Singapore. Yeah, so yeah, we also get protests from our neighboring countries of the smokes.
Yeah, it triggers a chain effect, I can imagine. When we started this conversation, you mentioned COVID-19 as one of those emergencies that Indonesia has been facing. And it's definitely something that communities there were not entirely prepared to face. Can you tell us about the impact of the pandemic on the Indonesian communities, and can you give us maybe a bit of an overview of our work there?
Yeah. So COVID-19 pandemic, now almost areas in Indonesia already affected by COVID-19, and the scale is quite various from the low to high impact. And yeah, we can see that in the news, you can hear in the news that the governments, they're getting difficulties to provide enough hospital, enough facilities for quarantine for people that already affected by COVID-19. And in an area that already affected by disaster, that they are supposed to be in a recovery state, they back to zero. Because of that area, the local government reallocate the funding. So the funding that's supposed to go for the recovery phase, they reallocate that for the COVID-19 preventions activities in that area. As the result, people that's supposed to be able to build their house, getting some fund from the government to build their house, for example, that funding is canceled. And then it's reallocated to buy the equipment for COVID-19 for the treatment of the people affected by COVID-19. And these people that's supposed to move from tents to housing, like semi-permanent housing, they're moving back to the tent. And then last time I checked, like, as part of my job is also doing the monitoring in the area that we are responding, I can witness that people are still in needs. For example, like in Lebak response for flood, people are in need, still in need for clean waters. While the Lebak response flood was happening in the January the 1st during the New Year's. Yeah. So I mean, like it's supposed to be in the recovery phase right now, but when we visiting that, checking on our projects there, we found out that they are still in needs for water, for food, and it's like the basic need that usually we are responding during emergencies. Well, now it's almost the end of 2020, but they are still in the phase like the first months after the disaster strikes in the 1st of January. Yeah. So in area around Indonesia, many local communities, they make the local lockdowns. So sometimes the people, the governments will make the semi-lockdowns, but then the people that are living in small communities, they will make the local lockdown, will completely lock down. People are not allowing to pass. Yeah, so this happenings everywhere in Indonesia. But Mercy Corps Indonesia, we are having close coordination with governments in national level and also in local level. So we are allowed to be able to move around to conduct our COVID-19 response. And the community also know us, so they also allow us to go past the blockage. So then we able to do the promotion of COVID-19 preventions. We're able to distribute the hand washing facilities, provide clean water, and also distribute hygiene kit, the hygiene supplies, that's including masks. Yeah, and also like the giving soaps, yeah, for the community. And we also provide basic food because many people lost their job because of COVID-19. They cannot work. This local lockdown also caused people cannot go to work. Yeah, many people get suspended from their work. Yeah, and because of that, they need helps for their basic needs. So then we provide basic food. Sometimes we're doing direct distributions. The other time we also do the cash transfer to help the community with this. And with Indonesia programs, we propose to our donor to do some modifications or the postpone sometimes. But mostly we are asking for modifications or repurposing the activities where we adding COVID-19's integrations, yeah, into our activities. Means like, for example, the program that provide mentoring for the entrepreneur, they adding the curriculum about how to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic for the entrepreneur in their business, for example. And for disaster, the DRR programming, they're not only doing the RR for disaster, when preparing the community when the disaster like flash flood or earthquake, but they also including the COVID-19 preventions in their messaging, in their management of their DRR activities. So there are like some examples of what we are doing now. So we are still operating right now.
Seems like it covers a sort of like very wide range of activities, from awareness prevention to direct sort of like response and supports to building back. The sort of like question around this is, during our communications with our supporters recently, we sent out a few stories and a few emails around communities located in slum areas, because we know that where there's not much space and where people tend to live like in more crammed and slum areas, a pandemic can disproportionately affect their lives. It can increase and make existing problems worse, and it can sort of like affect mobility and affect access to basic needs. I wonder whether you can give us a bit of an overview of what happens in these slum areas.
Yeah. So in the beginning of this year, when we heard that there is the pandemic and there is news that the pandemic maybe will start coming to Indonesia, then we start taking precautions. Means like we start collecting our secondary data about the area that might be affected by COVID-19 badly. Yeah, so one of our research has shown that, okay, the one that will be affected, worst affected by COVID-19, it can be in the slum area where people have less capacity to adapt or less capacity to deal with with the COVID-19 to prevent COVID-19 transmissions because of first lack of clean water. Yes, and then we are identify this area, and in Jakarta, where Mercy Corps office is located, there are slum area there in Penjaringan urban village. Yeah, so they have like among 18 hamlets, 17 of them are slum. You can see in this picture, this is part of the slum area. So many people in this area, they're living in illegal settlement, and it's very packed. Yeah, in just 3-hectare lands, you can have like 1,000 people living there. So these are the pictures of people living in hamlet number 17, where in a very small space, there are 11,500 families living here. And people will, usually their living space is only like 2 meters times 2 meters, very small, yeah. And in a very small space, it can be 1 or 2 families living together. And there are very limited space for people to have their own space. So people will just go out, and you can see, even though it's like COVID-19 pending, they will just still go out because their houses is very small, very packed. So then even though we say stay at your home, they will still go out because they cannot stay at their small space all day long. And then this area, since it's illegal settlement, they don't have clean water or the piping of the clean water from the government installed in this area. So people are still buying waters like $1, almost $1. It's for 30 liters of waters. And these waters, they will use it for cooking food and for drinking. And if they want to go to take a bath or to toilet, they will go to communal, but mostly they will just go to nearby river, and it's already polluted river. Yes, so can you imagine, just for them to have drinking water and water for cooking is already difficult. And if they want to clean themselves, they have to walk a little bit far to find the communal latrines to share with others. Yeah, so then how about the hand washing, the most simple one? Will they do that? Do they have enough water for that? So they might not have it. So then the first response that we are doing in this area is we are having, we make the communal hand washing stations, yeah, with 2 sinks. Yeah, so for the children and for adults, we have like 56 hand washing stations located in like strategic locations. So then people can come and wash their hands there. We also collaborate with the local government at the lowest level to ensure the water is available. And if the water is not available, then we will ask or arrange contributions with people or some other people that have the water from the legal water piping to be able to contribute water there. And we found that this hand washing station often running out of water because many people come and wash their hands. Yeah, in this area, we also do the campaign for COVID-19 prevention. So we are like putting lots of posters, banners everywhere, and we also distribute vitamins there. And the vitamins specifically for the old people above 60, and also for people that are the most poor among the poor, like the most vulnerable. And we also distribute it to the pregnant women and lactating women. Yeah, so these are our interventions. And up to date, it's still running. I mean, like the hand washing is still there, and our campaign, the poster, the banners are still there. And we are happy that we are among the first NGOs that are going there and having the response in this area. When it started, um, most people like to stay at home, be careful. Only few organizations will go out and doing some things. And it's good that Mercy Corps issue the protocols very quick, so then we can adapt. As the response team, we can adapt very fast and collaborate with the local government. So then, even though it's quite a critical time, but we still be able to go out and help people that are very vulnerable out there. Yeah.
This is something that I guess we have seen from our teams around not only Southeast Asia, but also the Middle East and in Africa. We have adapted our programming very, very quickly, and sort of like thought about unimaginable solutions to make sure that we serve the communities that we're here for. And I guess we're here for them mostly because of the support of donors and support of humanitarians who make sure that, you know, our work happens not only in Indonesia but everywhere really around the world. And this year has been a challenge. It has been a challenge, but we have seen a lot of contributions, a lot of support, and it's been quite surprising to see supporters, and our community of supporters has not turned their back. They've not stopped donating. They've not stopped making sure that this type of work happens, which is really important. Today, I kind of would like to close, well, our sort of like conversation with one or two questions that we received via email from our supporters, and then we will sort of like open up, depending on time, to any other questions from the chat, from the people who are here today. So over to Gemma, who has a couple of questions for you.
Hi, Piva. Yeah, so a couple of questions that came through by email first. So someone asked, what does the future look like for our work in Indonesia? So including, what do we imagine people's needs might be, and what impact do we want to have there?
The future like in Indonesia, yeah. So in Indonesia, we are hoping that the problem with the COVID-19 pandemic can have the solutions very soon. Yeah, so that our program can running as it, as it before. But even though we are still in this transitions situation like this, we are still want to pursue our vision and mission to help the most vulnerable, most affected people in Indonesia, and to work our best in most difficult areas in Indonesia. So even though there is COVID-19, it won't stop our work. We will modify, and we will still working best with all our partners, including our donors, the government, at the national level, at the local level, as well as the communities, to be able to still implementing this program, our programs. So our programs are quite various. Yeah, we have agriculture-related programs, climate change, resilience-related programs, emergencies, DRR, energies programs, almost around Indonesia. And even though the pandemic, it's not getting better for now, the case is increasing, but it's not stop us. And we hope that in the future we will still be able to implement and continue our work like this, and even reaching out to more people. We want to work more and touch more areas. Because we know that even though we already work our best with our partners, local partner, government, and even with other NGOs, we know that there are still many areas in Indonesia that are still not reached yet. Yeah. And we hope that we will be able to reach those areas. Yeah. And we can like, especially not only doing the program, because currently our development program already plus COVID-19 response. We will still continue that. And we will also hoping that we will do more of disaster, DRR, disaster risk reductions programs, plus COVID-19 prevention in most area in Indonesia, especially in the area that we already identify as the have the high risk, yeah, for natural disasters. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, Piva. It's great to hear that obviously all our work can continue and we can keep reaching more people in all the different areas that we're working in there. So that's great to hear. Thank you. So another question that we had by email was just asking about kind of what kind of technology we might be using in our work, in our disaster response work or as part of our COVID response.
Yeah. So in these recent years, we are glad that the technology has been like developing quite fast, and we're making use of it. It means that for our rapid need assessments, we now able to also use digital data collections that helping us to collect the data and also input it in the system right away. So it's like a real-time data collection so that we can do the analysis faster than before. So then it's faster for decision making, means it's faster to help people, and the help or the aid that we provided is suitable with the local needs. That's one. And then after that, during our rapid need assessments, we also make use for the drones. Yeah, in Indonesia, we have regulations for drones, means we cannot just fly it. We have to have local permission from the local government. But since we have the good collaboration with Disaster Management Board, so then they always allow us to use drones. This is really helping us because to do the assessment to better understand the scale of impact, and also to find where are the most affected people evacuating themselves. This drone is really helping because it can give us like the bird view. Yeah, so then we can see if, for example, it's the flood, how much the affected locations are, and also we can find, this based on our experience, we can find and understand the scale of the impacted area and where are the people evacuating. Yeah, because if we have to walk, yeah, it's not always safe. Yeah, we as the emergency response, we already committed that we will deal with danger, but we also have another role. We have to be able to ensure the team's safety, and with the drone, it can help to reduce, I mean, like to help us to be, I mean, the team to increase their safety while be able to gather the informations that we need, and from the information we get from the drone, we can better planning on how to reach to those affected areas better. We can have better preparations, especially the safety, and also on how we're going to transport our aid. So this is really helpful. Yeah.
I think we were able to share a video that you sent me recently, Piva, of drone footages that's really well filmed, and it really gives you an idea of the scale as well of the territories that are covered by our teams. So if we get a chance and we have a few minutes left at the end, I might share the video so that people who haven't been able to see it can take a look, because it was a very, very interesting and good one to watch. Yeah, Gemma, do we have any other questions?
Thanks, Mateo. Yeah, so just looking into the chat now. So I know, Piva, you were saying about how you're kind of working with local government, different NGOs as well. Someone has asked in the chat whether it's hard to collaborate with the government, or in general, is the government happy to work with and accommodate NGOs like ourselves?
Yeah. So we are in a good collaboration with the government. Because we've been building the relationship with government since long time ago. Means before disasters happening, we already meet with them, introduce ourselves, introduce our programs, and inform them about what we want to do in the emergency response, how we're doing it, and this kind of advocacy, because before the disasters, they know us before it happens. So then during the disasters, when we come up, we meet with them, they're just like, oh, it's you, come, join with us. So they are very welcoming and mostly up to date. We're able to work together with them very closely. In the national level, we have programs that just doing the advocacy national level. And we also have another programs or departments, just like Indonesia Response Team, that specialize in the disaster, the first response emergency, yeah. And we are keep coordinating and inform. So then the governments in national level, in local level, they're aware about us, about what we're doing and where we have been working with. And also, we're not only working by ourselves, we're also in good coordination and collaboration with other NGOs and also our local partners. So in Indonesia, we have Humanitarian Forum Indonesia, we have Emergency Capacity Building Network, and we also have Star Fund Network, where in this network, we are coordinating closely, because we know that when we are in an area, it's not just one NGO's working alone will solve the problems. It's like we're working together with us, with others, and then with the local governments. So I can say that it's not a problem in Indonesia.
Thank you, Piva. That's great to hear that we can kind of collaborate really closely with people at all different levels then. So just, we had a final question in the Q&A chat. So someone was asking about, so when we were talking about the informal settlements, kind of the slum areas or the elite, some of the settlements that are illegal, do you think there's anything, kind of particular reasons that might be preventing the local or the national government in investing in sanitation or hygiene infrastructure in these informal or illegal settlement areas?
Yeah. Yeah, for the governments, they are limited by regulations, yeah, because of it's illegal. So if they want to build some things there, it will be difficult for them. It will put them in the difficult positions. That's why the governments want to work with us. It doesn't mean that we will violate the regulation, no. Yeah, so we, when we are collaborating with the government actually already know the needs there. They want to help, but they have limitations. So then they will, working with us, try to find the solutions to help these people. Yeah, it's not easy to move all these people to a new place. It's not that simple. And it takes time and lots of collaborations and funding. So then we understand that we are taking baby steps here, but we are will still continue doing that. So local governments, when we, for example, like in Penjaringan, the pictures that you saw earlier, when we're about to have the response there, the first thing that we do is the coordinations, including coordination with the local governments. We ask the local government first, where are those vulnerable areas that we know it's illegal, yeah, that you really want to help, that we can help with it, yeah. And the government would point it out, and they will help us, I mean, like giving the permissions and show us, and sometimes even they recommend the area for us to put the hand washing facilities. So our interventions, we always want to make it not violating the government's regulations. Means if we want to build latrines, then we have to find the area that are legals to build latrines. And then if we want to have something that can help people that still in the illegal area, then we will think about something that are portable, means we can move it around. So our hand washing stations, it has a wheel, it's portable, so means we can bring it around, yeah. So working in these difficult situations, it needs strong coordinations, discussion with the local government. So we will still working with a fully responsible, yeah, to the government, to the law, and also to the community, yeah. Okay, back to you, Gemma.
Thank you, Piva. So we have another question come through on the chat. So Piva, you were talking about how funding has been channeled, funding that might have been has been diverted to the COVID-19 response. So areas that are affected by natural disaster, how high is the risk in these areas to experiencing poverty or conflict if there's a lack of funding? Kind of what's happening for those areas now that the funding has been diverted?
So I can say that right now, when I went there last month, the situation is very bad. Yeah, people are still living in the tent, and these tents located in an area that's very, very prone to landslides. Yeah. What can I say? It's kind of so devastating when we go there and look, and actually I'm kind of lost my words in this, because when I went there, I'm like, just, oh my God. They're living in the tent. The tent, yeah, it's donated since the first month of this year. Means by this time, the quality of the tarpaulin, yeah, it's using tarps, yeah, it's already bad. Means you can just do like this and it's ready to pieces. And now we're having La Nina coming, yeah, so it start forming in Pacific Oceans. This La Nina now, predicted by Disaster Management Agency in national level, they inform us that this will cause heavy rain for a long time in Indonesia. It makes the rainy season worse. Yeah, so what we might say right now is they don't have enough protections for themselves, and another disaster is coming. The funding that's supposed to help them move into the houses is already gone for COVID-19. And these people, if we're talking about the livelihood, they still don't have steady livelihood. So if I'm in a particular area in Banten province, located in Java, the west part of Java, people are doing the illegal mining, gold mining. So this has caused another problems. So what I can say is that the situation now is very complicated, and yeah, it's challenging. I don't know how to respond to this exactly. We are doing our best Yeah, we just closing our programs there where we built latrines for them. So before we are touching another area, but then we found about this area, yeah, that are neglected, because we in the beginning, I mean, like during March and April this year, we were informed that they will get money to build their houses. But last month I went there, the money is gone. Yeah. So among other affected people, they are that before these people are the people that we are already sure that they will recover sooner than others. But now they, I mean, like, while other area already get their temporary housing made from plywood, yeah. This area, they're still living in the tent. Yeah, I mean, people in this area. So it's difficult situations right now.
We need to, I guess, hope that together with other sort of like fellow organizations, once this, at least the COVID-19 situation is, you know, sort of over, because there's going to be economic needs anyway, funding will start being allocated again to direct response to natural disasters. And it's unfortunately it's staggering to see that not only in Indonesia, but a lot of the countries we work in, a lot of aspects of our work had to be sort of like reduced a little bit, or in some areas a bit more extensively to sort of like serve other needs. But hopefully with the calls and the appeals from ourselves and partner organizations and governments, we'll get back to where we were before. And hopefully with things you were chatting about, technology earlier, and new technologies that allow us to sort of like scale our monitoring and evaluation work, we'll be able to allocate more resources to other needs. But yeah, at the moment, the situation, particularly because of the impact of COVID-19 and climate change, that's becoming even more of a threat. They're harder, they're more complicated. I kind of wanted to ask a question myself, hopefully to close on a sort of like slightly more positive and encouraging note. I wanted to ask you, during your career at Mercy Corps, is there a moment when you felt you had the strongest impact on communities? When is the moment where you think Mercy Corps Indonesia, or you and your team, have had the biggest impact on the communities we were working for and serving?
Yeah. Actually, that moment, it's happening every time we are helping people. It's where when we go there, we deliver the aid, and the community say thank you and very grateful to it. It's like a moment that really happy, yeah, for us, when we are really celebrating it, that yes, finally we can help something for them. Yeah, we know it's not much, it's not answer to all of their needs, but we know that what we giving them, it's really suitable to their needs, yeah, among all those lists of needs. And those people are very grateful about it, and they thank us. And then when we come or pass by this area, these people will calling us and say thank you to us, thank you to Mercy Corps. And we are very grateful for that. And we are very grateful for our donors that helping us, so then we can deliver the aid to the community. And I mean, like this, the moment every time we meet with them, see their smiles. And, you know, when we come to them, these people, we bring something, even though it's not much. yeah, we can see that in their eyes, there's like the grateful and the hope and the thankful. It's kind of, it's the moment that we think it's worth it for us to work in here. Yeah. So it's not only me, but the whole team. We are the team of 30 people, the first responder in Indonesia. And every time we know that, yes, we get funding. Okay, then next, we have this list coming from our rapid need assessment. Okay, then we can go to this needs and this needs, and we bring it to the community. It's like, it's the happiest moment. I mean, it's like where we get, I mean, like this. So this is like the meaning of our works, and I hope that I can share this moment with you all. Yeah. So that's why we always taking pictures, you know, during our distributions. So then, for everyone so helping us with this response, they can also feel the happiness. Yeah. From these people. Yeah. So that's, we want to share the happiness that we feel to our donors and our partners through the pictures and through our videos and the testimonies that we make with the people. Yeah, because, yeah, I think it's very something that even for me, I don't know how to like the real, I mean, like, I don't have good words to say it in English. I'm sorry, but it's something that I feel like it's very happy for us. Yeah, and we kind of, yes, we achieve our vision and mission in this. Yeah, so then we're like, okay, what's next? We are very energized for that.
That is, it sounds, yeah, exciting when you can feel and see the impact of our work and our community through smiles and through hellos on the street. And yeah. Piva, thank you very much for spending some time with us today and for giving our supporters an overview, a small window into our work. I think it's really important to be able to share insights from our work with everyone. So thank you very much. And thank you, Gemma, as well, for supporting us today and for your amazing questions. Thank you very much for joining us today, and have a good day.